All right, what is going on Facebook? What's up, YouTube? So dual broadcast, another week, another dual broadcast. So this week we have a pretty interesting topic, which is all about branding. So how do you grow your personal brand in 2019, even if you're just a beginner? Even if you don't know anybody, if nobody really knows who you are, like what you have to and share with the world. So yeah, so let's dive right into it. So let me know if you are currently building your own personal brand. Let me know if you've been doing this for, however long, like let me know if you're still struggling with it a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit about, we'll actually dive pretty deep into that. So, and I actually have like a little like makeup product in my hands, and I was like thinking about personal branding for a little while, and especially about, like even product-based businesses, because this little thing, like, that I'm obsessed with my makeup, right? So if you know me, like, personally, we've been connected for, like some time already, then I love my makeup, right? So this is like a little product of a company called Fenty Beauty by Rihanna, which is, like one of probably my absolute favorite, just artist and, like song creator or musician in general. And when she started this brand, I probably own about 70% of the products she has ever created. So I'm pretty obsessed, right? But she was able, like her company blew up because of her personal brand that she developed. Obviously, she has, in fact, that is not just like makeup that she's doing. And I'm going to give you like obviously more stuff like as we dive in. But this woman definitely knows how to build a brand, because obviously she started out as a musician, like she has like a whole bunch of albums and songs and all kinds of stuff like that, right? And then she dove into business, right? So she started a couple of companies, one of them being a makeup company. Then last year, this is a crazy fact, okay? So she started a, how do you say that, lingerie brand, where she like creates like underwear for women. And because of her company, Victoria's Secret lost about 46% of their sales. I mean, how crazy is that? Like, I've never seen anybody knock out a company like that. Being, like considering that her company has been pretty new. So as you're joining, say hello. Let me know what is happening. Let me know where you are joining in from. Let me know if you're catching this live or if you're catching the replay. So we'll share with you some ways and strategies how you can build your personal brand in 2019. Even if you're an absolute beginner, even if you have no idea what branding is, even if you're just starting out in your business in general. So we will talk way further into that. So I will be catching up with all the comments after, but pretty please share this video, tag some people in it, share with your groups, with your pages, your team pages, tag some people, invite them, share it out. There may be some gifts or gift cards involved or something. I don't know. I'm going to figure something out fun for the next videos, but share it out because the information is going to be very much generic for a lot of you who are building businesses. So I think it's really going to help you out. So yeah, let's dive right into it. So first of all, what is branding? Okay, so I've been learning branding for really long time already. It's been like several years now. So okay, Julie, what the others see? Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up with some comments. Casey, what's up? IK, what is going on? It's not always about your son, it's about how others see you. Kelsey, you have a really valid point, because here, like, I've been learning branding from several people. Okay, so and the other week I've connected with actually a fellow European, and and I bought one of her products all around branding. And here's how she defined branding. Okay, so she said, what is branding? It is a combination of identity and perception. Okay, so and perception is really important here, because it's not just about how you define yourself. It's not just about your identity that you create for yourself, but it's also about perception. It's about how other people see you, right? So you really have to start off with that. You have to define, who are you? Like, what kind of business owner you are, what kind of income streams you have going on. So like, who are you? And I know this is one of the hardest questions ever. Like, I was actually on a coaching call the other day with one of my clients, and we were talking about it. So, I said, like, we need to work on your personal brand. That's one of the things that we always work, with clients on. And I told her, like, that is one of the hardest questions you will ever answer, which is, who am I? Like, who the hell am I? Right? So, like, who am I? What can I bring to the table? What can I bring into this marketplace? Right? So we always question that. Right? So, but again, it's all about how you perceive yourself. It's all about the identity that you give yourself, and it's also about the identity that your audience is going to give you. Okay, so your positioning here is going to matter a lot. So, like, if you kind of feel like, oh my gosh, Jelena, this is like so over my head, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down really simple for you. Okay, so then figure out who is your ideal client. Because chances are, if you're watching this video, like, drop some like heart reactions on the video. If you're watching this on Facebook, let me know on YouTube if you are already in a business. Okay, so you already have some sort of way how you monetize your brand, even if it's just a beginning brand. You know what I mean? So, like, let me know if you're already building some kind of business. Just drop yes or no, and like, let me know into the comments, like, smash some reactions. Let me know on YouTube if you're watching it here. So, but yeah, like, if you already have something, then you probably know your ideal clients, in pretty vivid details, right? So you already should know who's buying products that are similar to yourselves, to the products that you have, right? So if you are in a travel company, it could be somebody who's already traveling. So what kind of pages do those people go to? What kind of magazines do they read? What kind of books do they read, right? So if you're selling something like, health and wellness, or maybe you're a transformational coach, maybe you are, like a life coach, mindset coach. If you have an agency, for example, like, you have to figure out, like, who is my client? Who, like, what do these people are already buying? So your target audience is really the key right here, right? So, like, that's the beginning of your of growing a brand, because you can't build a brand without knowing your audience. Because if your brand is going to be all over the place, that's just not going to build a long-term sustainable business. Is that making sense? So really understand your audience, who those people are. Do you want to target specific countries? Do you want to target specific ages? Do you want to target specific gender? Maybe you're only going to be focusing on women. Like, maybe you want to just build a brand for women specific. Like, I know so many people out there like that. Nothing's wrong with that. Like, you have to narrow down your audience, because when you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. You know what I mean? So for me, for example, like, I do speak to business owners. I don't really speak to, like, sure, I have some aspiring business owners and some people who tell me, like, I want to start something. So, obviously that's a plus. But, generally I do speak to, existing business owners, or the ones who are just starting out, or, they're looking to do, like, more inside of their business. I'm not speaking to, like, people who own a traditional brick and mortar business. Like, that's not my audience. I don't really speak to e-commerce people. That's not my audience either. I don't really speak to makeup artists. Like, although, like, I love me some makeup, but that's not just that's not my audience, like, that's not my target audience. Are we on the same page, guys, here? So, like, let me know in the comments. Let me know on YouTube as well if you're watching it here. But that's the beginning. So you have to understand what your audience is, because if you don't know your audience, it's going to be very difficult to build a brand. It's going to be very difficult to create content inside of that brand, for that audience. Because if you don't know your audience and you're going to be talking about makeup, but your audience is actually business owners, then there's a disconnect, right? So there's a very, very big disconnect. So, so make sure that, you understand your audience first. Are we clear? Let me know if we're clear on that. So number 3, so identify what is it that you're already good at, okay? And I don't mean that you have to talk about, like, how to play piano. That's like what you do. You don't have to talk about how to draw, like, I don't know, like a house or a building. Like, we're talking business, okay? We're not talking about your hobbies. We're not talking about your like interests or your extracurricular activities. We're talking about business here, like, branding, like branding for your business, right? So, but that's, like, whatever you're good, we're talking about the qualities, right? So, like, what are the things that you're already good at? What are the things that you are naturally good at, right? So it's like, are you good at video marketing? Like, are you good, do you have a background in how do I say that? Do you have a background in maybe like you've been, what's the word? I forgot. I was listening to somebody else's YouTube video today, and they said they used to be like an interviewer or something like that. So yeah, like, so figure out, like, do you have some background with public speaking? Do you have some background with writing? Like, maybe you are really good at writing, so that's one thing that you have to focus on, because when you identify what you're really good at, that's going to allow you to figure out which platform you're going to dominate on. Okay, because if you're really good at writing, you have to pursue probably something like, article writing. So probably something like blogging, right? So if you're really good at public speaking, you can start doing videos and start a YouTube channel, for example. If you're really good at, building a huge audience organically, you may want to go with something like Facebook or Instagram. You see where I'm going with this? So you have to understand your strengths before you even choose the platform. Okay, so and I'll give you my personal example, right? So when I first started out, like, I knew that my strength, it was writing, right? And I know I'm not the perfect writer. I know I make grammar mistakes and all kinds of things like that, but I was crap at videos. Okay, so I couldn't speak properly, right? So, and I still make, some mistakes, but the point is, hang on. I'm sorry. If you're here and you're spamming my video, your ass is gonna be booted. Okay, so I do apologize, but I have to block somebody here. So anyway, so let's move forward. Okay, so I'm sorry, Muhammad, but you're not allowed in this broadcast. Okay, so I don't tolerate spam. So anywho, so figure out, like, what your strengths are. If you're good at video marketing, like, go pursue video marketing, go to your YouTube channel. If you're good at, technology or something like this, maybe you want to start an agency. If you're really good at creating content, if you're really good at, organization, you may want to start your own agency. You know what I mean? If you're still kind of in the process of like finding the right business, then, that might be like, one of your decisions. You know what I mean? So figure out your strengths and figure out what is it that you already like talking about that is congruent with your business. Because that's how you're going to get yourself into content creation. That's how you're going to get yourself into that consistency of content creation. Because when we're first starting out, we don't really know, like, what are we going to be talking about, right? Yes, get lost. If you're a spammer on this broadcast, you're getting lost. Like, that's for sure. So, but yeah, like, figure out what your strengths are. So, like, let me know into the comments, which are your, like, what strengths do you have? Like, are you good at public speaking? Are you good at communication? Are you like a social media butterfly? Are you really good at organic stuff? Do you know paid advertising? Like, let me know, like, what are your strengths? What is it that you're already good at? Because that's going to really contribute to your business growth, because I want you to focus on your strengths first while you work on your weaknesses in the back end. Is that making sense? Because you don't have to sit here and work on your weaknesses and try to improve for years before you get any results. You already have strengths that can help you grow your business. So focus on that first. Okay, so again, let me know what your strengths are. Just drop like a short line or something. And we can talk about that, right? So good. So you're good at getting leads organically. So like keep doing that, and then in the back end, like start working on how to close those leads, right? So like how to get them on a Zoom call, how to get them on a call, how to close them. Like so that's like if you're good at one area, so put all of your energy and focus and attention on that. And in the background, start working on the skill sets. How do I close more of those leads? Because if you generate, like when people tell me, like, oh, like I generate 100 leads and I only close 0.5 people, that's horrible. I would rather generate, I'll be honest, I've never been the type of person who generates 20, 40 leads every single day. I mean, I've had weeks and days when I generate a whole bunch of leads when I do a big promotion, but generally I get consistent lead flow, 3-5 quality leads a day into my email list. Sometimes more, sometimes it's 10, 15. It depends on what I'm doing inside of my business, whether I'm running some paid ads or, Roxanne, what is going on. But in general, my quality connections are also coming in from social media. So, out of 10 people, I can say, I can close, very high, depends. Again, it really depends. But let's say if I talk to 10 high quality people who are, actual quality leads, I can probably close, 5, 6, if not 7 out of them. Okay. So again, it really depends on the, what I'm promoting, depends on the offer, depends on, like what the needs are of my audience, right? So but yeah, you do have to focus on, learning closing as well. So I think enough about the strengths and weaknesses. So number 4, start creating content for your ideal client. Okay, so and I feel like that's where a lot of business owners, just kind of get lost, because we don't always know, like what kind of content am I supposed to create? What do I talk about? What's going on in my business? Like, how do I create content? So once you choose the platform, then it's time to actually get to work, which means, yes, it's going to be content creation, right? So and you like figure out, what is your audience struggling with right now. So let's say if you are selling, let's say if you have like a digital marketing agency or something. I don't know why I keep going back to agencies today. I feel like I've been listening to so many podcasts and trainings like about that. That kind of keep going back to that in particular example. But let's say if you have a digital marketing agency, so it could be like a high ticket service or something, or it could be like a retailer that you want to get people on. You know what I mean? So what kind of content do you need to create to attract people who are struggling with social media? So you probably need to start giving them some tips on how to grow their existing businesses, right? So you have to give them some tips on how to, like develop a social media strategy, and, how they can do it on their own, and how they can simplify the process and save a hell of a lot of time by hiring you. Okay, so you see the whole flow, how things like really go when you, like identify the whole process. So that's, like really one of the keys, right? So if you're selling weight loss, for example, if you have like, health and wellness types of products, then what are you going to be focusing on? You're going to focus on, the content that, people struggle with, having some extra weight, or like, right now getting ready for, like that, like what do you call it, bikini body or whatever. So those are the things that you really have to be really, really focused on. You see what I'm saying? So get into content creation. And then like, how do you actually start creating content? If you totally feel stuck, then like find, like I think I mentioned that. No, maybe I was mentioning this like somewhere else. But find 3 to 5 influencers in your niche. People who you're trying to model, right? So those big influencers, gurus. Like there's people like that in every single industry, like every single niche out there, right? So, and figure out, like, see what they're doing. What kind of content do they create? What kind of offers do they have? What is it that they're selling, right? So you have to reverse engineer their processes to be able to implement that into your own business, right? So that's generally how I do it. I mean, I always try to see, like, what are the trends in my industry? What kind of videos are people creating? What kind of content are people talking about? What is trending right now? Like, here's another tip, like, what is trending like at this particular moment. Okay, so that way like you can create content and tailor it based on the time of the year that you're creating content, you know what I mean, like based on the updates that there are, based on a lot of different factors, right? So again, like find some influencers, see what kind of content they are creating, and also, start doing personal development. Okay, so I was doing a morning wake up call for a marketing community that I'm part of. And one thing that I talked about, was actually mostly content creation. I said the reason that we don't create content is because we don't do enough personal development. Okay, so and I've been to that trap where I've been so busy building my business, I've been so busy talking to people, creating content, or like I wasn't even busy creating content at that point, but I was just busy with so many different things going on to where I didn't allocate any time to personal development. Like I wasn't reading books, I wasn't going to webinars. I was like, I'm too busy for that crap. Like I'm just gonna focus on taking action. And although I was getting results, I was making sales in my business, I was signing people up and everything, but the content part, holy hell, I was struggling. Like I was sitting down, like sitting in front of my computer or my phone, and I was thinking to myself, what am I going to be talking about today? What kind of Facebook Live am I going to do? What kind of status update am I going to post? What article am I going to create on my website, right? So like that was an ongoing question for like a month at some point, I think. So in order for you not to get into that trap, you have to do personal development. Like either that's listening to a podcast, either that's reading a chapter or 2 of a book. And that's going to be like both working on your mindset and also working on your strategies. Because if you let's say if you know how to generate leads, but you don't know how to convert those leads, then you have to brush up on your closing skills, right? So you have to probably get on more phone calls. You have to go to some trainings and, go to some webinars and, I don't know, buy some courses or something like around closing. And, like really, really hone in on those skill sets and, really get better at it. You know what I mean? So, so that's like as far as content, right? So personal development is really going to be vital, because if you're not doing anything, if you're not growing yourself, then how do you expect to help others to grow? Something to think about. Like definitely something to think about, right? So, and again, like, something that I've already mentioned, study your competition. And competition is like quote unquote competition, because honestly, like, surely you can call like your role models as competition, or you can call them you can call them competition. I haven't really found a better term for that. But like study them, like literally study what they're doing, how they're doing it, what kind of videos are they doing, what kind of content are they creating, what groups are they hanging out at, what, like, do they have an Instagram account, do they have a website, like figure out what do they have going on, where are they getting results, and also something else, figure out how your competition started, not what they're doing right now, not all the fancy schmancy videos and like sales teams and like, the things that they have going on right now when they have already built like a multi, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 figure business, but figure out what is it that they did when they were first starting out. What was the hustle? What was the grind part that you may be going through right now? Because a lot of the times, like, people come up to me and they ask, like, oh, like, do I need assistance? Do I need this? I say, no, like, chill out. You need to focus on your foundation first before you like worry about outsourcing, or before you worry about like any of that stuff. You know what I mean? So, or before you worry about even like Facebook ads, for example. So it depends on your business, obviously. But yeah, like, guys, let me know if we're still on the same page about that. Like, like, drop like a flame emoji into the comments, and whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook. So like drop a flame emoji, let me know if we are on the same page about that, because I do feel like we always try to do so many things, and instead you really have to just focus on like building up the foundation and growing like really, really gradually. You know what I mean? So so study your competition, study the hell out of it. Okay, so like really like get around the people who have the business that you want to build, and then like see what they're doing. And if you can hire them, buy their courses, get their coaching, get around them, like send them a message. I mean, be sure to do that, like, because again, like you want to like soak up as much information as you possibly can. So make sure that you're actually doing that. So again, okay, moving forward. So I think that was point number 5. So point number 6. So when it comes to personal branding, okay, so how do you get known? Because there's one thing that I've mentioned in the title on Facebook was, how do you build a brand if nobody really knows you? Okay, if you're a stranger, you're just coming into the industry, you don't know anybody, you don't know like anything about it, nobody knows who you are. That was like me 5 years ago, right? So I came in like 19 years old, and I was like, I don't know anybody, nobody knows me, like, what the hell am I doing here, right? So, and then, a couple of years later, I've been speaking on stages and, all kinds of crazy fun stuff. So I probably know like a thing or two about how to do that. So number 1, so actually it's number 6. Point number 6. So go out and network. Okay, so that's one of the keys. You really have to start networking within your community. So again, figure out who are your competition, who are the big industry leaders, where do they hang out? Do they have an Instagram account? Do they have Facebook pages? Do they have Facebook groups? So like start hanging out in places where your ideal clients are possibly hanging out at. Is that making sense? So, go out there and let's say, what kind of communities do they have? Do they have Facebook groups? Like what kind of Instagram comments are they having? So, like one thing that I do that's, again, obviously nobody really sees that I'm doing it, is I go into Instagram and I go into Facebook groups and I go into big influencers on Instagram and I check out their comments and I network there, right? So that's like not something you're going to see on the Facebook Live, right? That I do, that's something you're going to see like on a YouTube video or anything. But if you really want to get around people, like you do have to start participating in conversations. Go into Facebook groups. Like, obviously you don't have to look like a like weird, shady person that's just trying to steal somebody else's audience, I mean, that's just like a jerk move, okay? So you don't want to be doing that. But what you want to be doing is, get around the people who are in your field. You know what I mean? So start networking, start talking to them, start seeing, like what kind of, struggles are they having? What kind of pain points, do they have right now? Like, what is it that is going on in their business, right? So get around the community, because there's already communities out there. There's Facebook groups, like I mentioned. There's, Instagram hashtags. There's Instagram influencers who have built big audiences. And like, do your research. And also, like when it comes to networking, you're never going to have a content creation problem if you start talking to people. Okay, so, and like if you really get active in the community, if you really get your head into the game, you are never going to have a content problem, because, once you start networking, once you start talking to people, once you get those conversations going, on Facebook, on Instagram, I don't know, like Twitter, like whatever, right? People are always going to tell you what they're struggling with. Or, like you're going to get, like, I've got so many ideas for my content from conversations, it's not even funny. Okay, like so many, probably about like 30% of my content is literally just people asking me questions, and just like the things that we talk about, like throughout conversations, whether that's somebody like my ideal clients, like that I'm talking to, or whether that's somebody that's like my business partner, or somebody like a good friend of mine from the industry. Always ideas out of that. Let me close something. So and last but not least, you have to stay consistent. Like you have to stay consistent. Like, if you do all of this that I've just outlined, you're going to get results, but you're not going to get results if you just do it for 30 days and then say, oh, like, screw that. Like, it's not working. Not going to work out like that, right? So it's not going to work if you... It's not going to work if you just, do it for like, if you just half-ass it, okay? So I'm just going to keep it really. If you put like half of the energy into doing it, then it's not going to work out. So you really have to go all in. Like I say, go all in or go all out. Like, go all in or get the hell out, okay? So I know that may sound like a little bit harsh, but that's the reality. Like, you have to put your whole like energy and focus and attention on building it and making it happen, rather than, starting something and then stopping, starting something and then stopping, starting and stopping again, right? So that's not going to give you that long-term sustainable growth. And that's definitely not going to grow your brand, in the, like, for years to come. So, and like, keep in mind, like a little branding tip as well. So you are going to start as a beginner, okay? So your brand in the very beginning is probably going to be very different. It's going to look very different 5 years from now. Even like 2 years from, even 12 months from now, your brand might look slightly different, because you need to give your brand substance. And what I mean by that, like you can't just go out there and say to everybody like, hey, I'm a health coach or I'm a life coach. Like, you still have to put in the work. You still need to go out and get some results. You still need to go out there and teach people. You still need to go out there and, create, success stories and testimonials and, all that good stuff. And that's exactly what's going to really transform your brand. It's not going to be necessarily you. It's going to be the people that you surround yourself with. So that's my 2 cents when it comes to building your personal brand in 2019 if you are just a beginner. So I really hope you got some value out of it. If you did, pretty please share this out. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like that. If you are watching on Facebook, hit the see first button on my profile. Shoot me a friend request if we're not connected yet. And shoot me a message if you got any questions. And something that I'm doing in the next couple of weeks, I believe 2 weeks from now. So I'm going to be doing a 3-part video training called Social Media Makeover. So it's going to be hosted inside of my free Facebook community. So if you're curious about that, just drop me like a little comment, SMM. That's going to be like a little like abbreviation for that. So Social Media Makeover is going to be happening. I think I'm looking at March 25th. So that's when we are going to be kicking that off. So anyways, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, share this out. And yeah, so, and I will be seeing you in the next video next week, next Monday at, what is it going to be? It's going to be 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.